This clip right here is a microcosm of Kevin Garnett's career, all out intensity, passion, and grit. From a skill standpoint, what separated KG from most, especially in his era, was that he effectively defended all five positions. That was really unheard of at that time. We see more of that versatility these days, with guys capable of switching and holding their own against opponents with different skill sets. But the way Garnett did it was super unique because he combined that ferocity with remarkable physical gifts and incredible instincts. This possession right here, which was against the Lakers on November 9th, 2005, is a great example of the defensive impact he made consistently. First, he's guarding Lamar Odom, one of the better point forwards of that era, up the floor. Then, recognizing that Odom isn't a scoring threat on the perimeter, he's able to help patrol the court and see where he can wreak havoc, which is what he does when Kobe Bryant goes up for his shot in the paint, rejecting it. After the Lakers maintain possession on that same trip, we again see KG covering ground everywhere. Here he's preventing Kwame Brown from getting the ball in the post against a smaller defender, as KG is there to thwart that try. And then as Odom dribbles in with the shot clock winding down, he's there to contest the baseline jumper. Although they didn't keep track of deflections back then, I have to believe Garnett had the most of them throughout the 2000s. His anticipation was off the charts, and he would use his long arms to disrupt plays over and over again. He was the ultimate free safety with eyes everywhere, surveying and scoping out plays. He made it difficult on his opponents to make clean passes to cutters, which was one of the reasons why his teams always held opponents to fewer points in the paint. And then his ball pressure was outstanding for someone his size. He just didn't let opponents breathe, surrounding them and forcing them into careless decisions. And he really didn't foul all that much. Only once in his career did he average over 3 fouls per game, which was in the shortened 1999 season. In 1,462 games played, he fouled out just 25 times. That's 1.7% of his games. The Celtics had a top 5 defensive rating in each of the first 5 seasons KG was with them, and they were 7th in his final year in Boston. The year they won the title in 2007-08, opponents shot a league-low 41.9% from the field and were held to 90.3 points per contest. His relentless motor, excellent timing, and athleticism made him a great shot blocker. He was one of those rare athletes where he got up just as high off the floor on his second jump as his first. The most blocks he recorded in a game was 8, which he actually did twice during the 1996-97 season. But what was crazy was that they happened on back-to-back days. First at Boston on January 3rd, 1997, and then again at Milwaukee on January 4th. He was only 20 years old then. He's one of 12 players all time to block 8 or more shots in a game, 20 years old or younger. One of his most memorable blocks occurred on February 6, 2006 at Phoenix, when he rejected Shawn Marion's potential game-tying shot just before time expired. Offensively, Garnett was one of the best mid-range jump shooters of all time. So often he'd collect a pass in the low to mid post area, use a shimmy move to freeze his defender, and then pivot into a turnaround jumper that was nearly impossible to defend because of its high release point. His most efficient year from the mid-range came in the 2005-06 season, when he made 51.1% of his attempts from 10 to 16 feet out. In the 2000s decade, this was one of only 7 instances of a player shooting over 50% from this range in a season with over 200 attempts. Sam Cassell and Dirk Nowitzki each did it twice that decade, and then KG, Glenn Robinson, and Antonio McDyess once each. KG was also excellent in the pick and pop game. No matter what ball handler he teamed up with, the chemistry always seemed on point. Here you see it with Stephon Marbury. Here with Terrell Brandon. Here with Sam Cassell. And here with Rajon Rondo. Minnesota, when they had Garnett, Cassell, and Latrell Sprewell, were the best mid-range shooting team in the league. In fact, in the 2003-04 season, a year they made the Western Conference Finals, the Timberwolves were number one in both field goal attempts and field goal percentage from 10 to 19 feet out. Particularly during his younger years, KG was electric in transition. That's where his agility and athleticism would really stand out. The fact that he could handle the ball at his size, to go along with being a very good passer, helped him thrive even more in the open floor. That segues to his playmaking, which was very good. He at times was put in a point forward role where he was able to showcase how cerebral of a player he was. He processed the game really well. The most assists he recorded in a game was 12, which he did twice in the spring of 2003. He had 16 triple-doubles in his career, with 6 of them coming in that 2002-03 season. That was the most that year in the league. Throughout his career, he made 10 go-ahead shots in the final 10 seconds of regulation or overtime that led to wins, 7 with Minnesota and 3 with Boston. Among them was this game-winning jumper with 1.2 seconds left in double overtime on March 1st, 1998 against the Detroit Pistons. Again against the Pistons on April 10, 2000, he hit this winning jumper at the buzzer. Another buzzer beater came on December 7, 2003, when he knocked down this jumper at LA against the Clippers. Here a few years later on January 5, 2007, he connected on this jumper as time expired in OT against the 76ers. The first of 3 he had with the Celtics came on November 22, 2009 at Madison Square Garden, where he made this jumper as time expired against the Knicks. Here on December 9, 2010, he scored off the alley-oop toss from Rondo to put Boston ahead for good with 1.4 seconds left. The most points he ever scored in a game was 47, set on January 4, 2005 against the Suns. The most rebounds he had in a game was 25, his total on December 5, 2003 at Sacramento. He led the league in rebounding in 4 straight seasons from 2003-04 to 2006-07. When he went to the Celtics following a blockbuster trade in the summer of 2007, his role changed where no longer was he the primary offensive option, playing alongside Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, and Rajon Rondo. He was the defensive anchor and the ultimate glue guy, which helped Boston win the title in his first season there in the 2007-08 season. KG played 6 seasons in Boston before getting traded to Brooklyn in 2013, which ultimately enabled the Celtics to draft both Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum years later. He would then finish his career back in Minnesota. All in all, he was a 15-time NBA All-Star, was the All-Star Game MVP in 2003, was the regular season MVP in 2004, captured the Defensive Player of the Year award in 2008, and made the All-NBA First Team 4 times, the Second Team 3 times, and the Third Team twice. He also won gold with Team USA in the 2000 Olympics in Sydney, Australia. So that will wrap up this video. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe.